Hey, we're back. Hey, we're back. I'm sorry about that. I always tell you, maybe one day we're gonna have a class free of any technical issues. Still not this one. We'll keep an eye on that. So yeah, I'm very excited about today's class because we're almost done with our illustration, and I'm just really excited to show you all how this illustration is going and to guide you as well into doing all the details that you can in your illustration. Today I want to focus a bit on the layout in the things that we want to draw, on the environment of our animals in case we want to draw that. I think we already talked about this, that we can just place it somewhere and we don't have to do any details on it. Like it can be a completely blank background. That's valid. We can do that. But in the one that I'm gonna show you, I wanna try to do a texture on the surface where the two animals are standing at. And I believe it's gonna be a rock. Yes, it's gonna be a rock. And I'm gonna show you the process. So I'm just gonna look at some examples of textures, go with the one I like, and start elaborating that. I also want to show you because I work on the details of the specimen I was working on, and I want to show you how that's looking, which I think is very nice, but you can judge for yourself. So yeah, we were using different references to be able to do the textures and the details of our animal. Like, okay, let me just like something like that. It's like one of the images that we were using to have as a reference in our illustration. So yes, so one part of the class is gonna be me doing more details because I work on some details of the species, but I thought that maybe that would be interesting for you to see, so I didn't finish all the details of this species or this first individual, the female. That's the one that I'm doing. But I do want to show you then how it's looking at the moment. Um, I think we're pretty close to what we want as a final illustration. But just let me show you. Yes. Alright. Yeah, this is how my illustration is looking. And as you can see, I work on the details. I told you last class that I wanted to work on the details and that I was gonna do so, especially on the areas that are more like in a mid shadow. So yeah, in areas like this and this and the arms, I work on those details. And I just did the guidelines a little bit on the rest of the body. Today I'm gonna show you this leg, and maybe we can go and do the tail, and we can finish this one. But I believe that on parts like the head is pretty much done. Yeah, like this arm, like I just wanna work on the transition from this to this. That's gonna have a little bit less of the detail here, but um I just looked to a lot of images of these species, and I could see that even when the species is catching the light, you can still see the scales. So then I'm trying to play with how to do that and how to depict that with the pencils, which is not it's not that complicated. What did I do? I'm gonna show you. Mm. So you can see in places like this, right? that you can see shadow on one side, shadow on the other, and you see the highlight in the middle. And this is a really nice way of doing it, because if we zoom in, you can see that there's still texture there. It's just a bit softer, it's just a bit subtle, and that's still gonna, it's very appealing to the eye. So then you look at it and you see like, okay, there's still a lot of texture, but we don't necessarily want to make it super dark, because or else then we will be missing that sense of three-dimensionality, right? If we darken everything till this point of like, I don't know, the down part of the face, then if we darken everything to that point, then for sure we're gonna lose all the work that we did in advance with the shadow and the lighting. So I'm gonna be showing you this, and just, yeah, as I said, I'm gonna be showing you then also mm, I'm gonna be showing you a little bit of what we have in the background. I also want to show you the difference, because I know it's very different. The, the full illustration, because the other individual, the male, we haven't worked on. So then when we're gonna be looking at it, it's just, yep. Okay, too far. This is our complete layout. And then you see, okay, this one only has like the general shading, and the one on the left already has so much detail, so much more detail than this one. And we can really see that now. So we're gonna be working on this one. Yes, again, we're gonna keep working on this one. I wanna work on the surface where they're standing. I don't know if you see, maybe you don't. Let me go closer. If we go here, there's this line here. This is where they're standing, right? And then if we keep going up, then we can see it here, and it's this rock over here. So I wanna make that come to life a bit more. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm just gonna be drawing this one. And yeah, I really hope you like it. I'm gonna be telling you some stuff about it as well. I don't know if you noticed, maybe you did, because I've been struggling a bit with the paws of the animal, and they are complicated. They are super complicated. But then on this one, I work a bit more on them and to understand the shape and yeah, how they're placed. So now you can see it maybe more realistic in a way. So yeah, that's just amazing, and it's also a reminder that even when you have things already in the paper, you can keep exploring, you can change your mind, you can do something different. And that's what I have had in this illustration. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, maybe I want to change that. And that doesn't mean like, oh, we have to start all over. But this is just gonna allow us a lot of freedom. A lot of freedom. So yeah, let's jump right into this. Again, this stability thing is tricky. I'm gonna try to not make it too bad. Let's zoom in. So what I told you that I did on this side, is what we're gonna replicate on this side. So first we need to understand, yeah, let's just grab a reference. I like I like this one really. I think it's a good one, and I know that this is also a female specimen. So this is the one I've been using. What do I see here? Maybe don't, but I can make it bigger to show you. What I see here is that the size of the scales that we have on the arm, they're way smaller. Yeah, that's also something we can see on our illustration. Like when I show you here the arm, if I show you here, then you can for sure see, yeah, something like that, that the scales are way smaller. So that's important because, as I told you, I'm not trying to grab a picture and just draw everything as specifically the same as I see it on the picture, but just try to grab what's important and what's useful from that picture to be able to do it on my illustration. So then, yeah, I see this scales difference from the arm and the rest of the body, right? So then we go from there. I'm gonna be using a soft pencil. No, maybe a harder one. Yeah, let's see with because yeah, what I did in the other leg then you see is that the light places I did it with a harder pencil, and then the rest I did with a softer pencil, with one that's darker. And that's how, yes, on this one, that's how we're gonna achieve this. So yeah, now we're gonna do it in here. I have my pencil, and sometimes also if I'm gonna be looking at this, if I look from afar like we are all doing at this moment, I what I see first are like these lines that go with the shape of this leg, and the lines are just the edge of the scales, so then we can use that as a guide. And like things like in the rest of the body that I did before, like these things that maybe right now looks a bit out of place, but then they were pretty good. So we're gonna do that. Okay, first I just wanna look. Let me see. We have this image. I feel you can see that in the image when the arm is starting, then you have this circle around it, like something like this, no? And like the scales go in that way. And then, okay, I have my transparent paper here, so I'm not smudging my graphite all over. And we're just gonna start with these lines that are gonna kinda indicate us where the scales are going. So I did this with my other side, and what I did was giving it already some texture, something like this. And you can consciously use the pencil softer on this part, and when you go to the shadow, just use it darker. Yes, this takes time. Yes, it needs patience as well. But look how far we've gone on this illustration. Alrighty. So that's like the base, and then we go from there. I think I always tell you this, but I'm not gonna get sick of reminding you that you can always erase. You went too dark? Erase. You didn't like it? Erase. You think you could have done it better? Erase and do it better. Like there's no issue. Mm. And then I'm gonna go right ahead and start working on the details. So for me, there's just like little circles, you know. Like there's not much to it. Um, and then you see how these lines are always the lines where the scales are starting and ending. So then that's just super convenient. Sometimes you feel like doing this type of things is gonna take you a lot of time, and then you're gonna hold yourself back from starting. I purposely look at the clock before doing this, like this a special, like the one I just did with all of you. The minute was 18. Right now we have 21 in our clock. Was it a lot? No, it was not a lot. It was okay, yeah. It was super okay. We don't have to worry about those things. I know sometimes it can be intimidating. The whole starting can be intimidating for sure. But if you're thinking about that, like, oh, it's gonna take me so long, or I'm never gonna be able to do all those details, or never gonna be able to make it so nice, then you're never gonna start. And then once you're doing it, then you're gonna realize that, yeah, you're able to do all those details, and you're able to make it super, super nice, and you're able to do a beautiful illustration. So you'll start, and then you'll get it, okay? This is only with my soft pen, with my soft pencil. I'm gonna show you, because maybe sometimes also, if I look at this, I could say like, wow, that's too dark. But when I look at the rest, then I think like, oh, that's not dark. The rest is just very light. So if we work on building the darkness of the rest, then you're not gonna see it so dark. Maybe that didn't make a lot of sense. What I mean is that if you think that in general the pencil that we use was too dark, it's just because we haven't used our dark yet. Yeah, I think it's just that. And then we can just work on. Yeah, there was places where I couldn't even see them of how light they were. Like shading was already too dark for me to be able to see them. Okay, what do I feel at this point? That maybe is not being super bland. It's fair, maybe it's not. And then we can go over it. I'm using the first one, the soft one, the one that is not that dark. And then I can blend it in. And then I realized, well, maybe the whole thing was too light. Maybe I can darken it more. And you know what? I agree with that. We can for sure darken it more. I think for me also helps, and this is also something that I tell you all the time, that we rarely gonna use the white of the paper, so don't be afraid to go darker. Okay, and maybe I have some of these that are too dark. Guess what? We can soften it a bit. I'm using this. um, I don't know if you've seen this. It's a kneadable art eraser. That's how it's called. So it's an eraser, yeah. You can move it like this, yeah. Also, you usually find it more in blue. I found this one in gray and I think it's amazing because blue can sometimes stain your paper, and this gray one is, well, it has never done that to me. I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. But yeah, let's go back to this. What else can I tell you about this? I can also tell you that we can darken the rest, not with the soft one because we were just using a 4H to work on the shadow, but with something that is darker. This is a 2 and an HB, sorry. Okay, you cannot tell me that this does not go fast because I feel it goes so fast. Like this whole thing we did in under 10 minutes. So if it's about time you're worrying about, don't. Yeah, now we have an extremity that has bunch of texture and looks super nice. And let me, uh, maybe I would work only on the outlines. Outlines, yeah. So like this one. Can also do it darker here. Yeah. Yeah, what do you think about that? That's why I didn't do it with you. without you, sorry, because I think it's very interesting to see how this comes together. Look at that. Okay, I know this is me, now this is my work, but I think it's looking beautiful. And that's how we can elaborate like this texture and at the same time still keep our our volume. Yeah, like if I look at it, I can still work a bit on it, just a bit. Don't worry. Yeah, I know. Sometimes I have to stop myself and work, don't overwork on the details. I also know, and this is also super important tip for you, and is that you have to be aware that let's say you need 100% to finish an illustration, right? You're gonna get to 80 fairly fast, and then working from 80 to 100 is gonna be a hard one. But, and this is an important but, because this is a scale only based on your criteria, only based on what you think is good, only based on your 100%. So this 100% is 100 you can give. That from 80 to 100 is gonna take you a lot of time. Could even take you the same time that it took you to get to 80. And when other people see it, they're most likely not gonna see the difference. Because all these details and all these amazing things that you wanna do, people are not that careful into detail. So if you can get it to 80, I would say it's good. I know you can give more. I know you can push it harder, but I would be fine with you giving me your 80. And then in that way you can also control not spending a ridiculous amount of time on one illustration. Okay, multitasking sometimes is not my thing, and that's why I can talk to you and kinda drift away a bit, or like draw and not talk to you at all. But we're getting there. This is also a process. So yeah, look at this. Very beautiful, very subtle, very texturized. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, and we can work here. I think on the overall body we can work. We already have a pretty good base. Let's bring another reference. Okay, I think I have one that's kind of closer. Mm. Okay, yeah, we could use it, but I don't know, it's kind of holding my whole screen. Now let's do something smaller. I think the real challenge here is the transitions from the shading to the lighting. And yeah, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, okay, this could be darker. So let's do it darker. Remember, every time you're gonna touch your paper, make sure your hands are clean. I wash my hands before starting class, so I'm pretty sure my hands are clean. But sometimes maybe your hands are not clean and that can, I don't know, stand the paper or we just don't want that. I even think it could go darker. But I think when we're gonna be drawing the cat shadow, we are gonna maybe even go darker. Hey, let me do something different approach here. 1 second. Okay, this is just because I feel that this image is maybe not what we need right now as a reference. So I'm just gonna put a new one. And it's literally just the zooming of one of the references. I just think it would works really good. Like the exercise we did last class with the fish and the cat and the bird. Yeah, look. Something like this. No, that's perfect. Now we just need a steady camera. That's the challenge, no? Okay. Oh, you cannot see the image. Okay, that's great. That is great. It's here, don't worry. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how to arrange this in the same space. Yes. Okay, I think this is gonna work better. Okay, you'll see that a lot of what we're doing here is just following the guide. Maybe I'm not even looking too much to the guide, to the reference. But I already draw some lines for myself. And those are the lines that are gonna help me, you know, do this. Oh, sorry, I got a bit too excited. Okay, I think this is amazing. We could do this so fast, and then you can see, yeah, you can see the texture, you can see the volume. Yes, I think maybe we can go darker. Okay, I'm trying to go darker with the 4H. Not smart. If you look to my reference, the one I have on the screen right now, you're gonna notice something I didn't notice when I was doing all my light study, and is that their spine is creating kind of a, yeah, like a heel in the body that is gonna be casting some shadow. And I'm gonna show it to you on the paper in case you didn't understand what I said. Well, just basically that I thought this was the part with the most amount of light, but apparently, okay, yeah, it might be the spine, but then the spine is giving us some shadow here. Do you see that? And then we have lighting like a little bit down than that. Yeah, something like that. Okay, maybe I went too dark. Cause yeah, the casting shadow is just a little bit above that. That's a nice light, I think. Yeah, the issue when you're doing your texture with such a light pen is that you can erase it easily. But let me show you how this looks from a distance. Okay, I don't know. I think it's looking really good. Oh, wait. Okay. So, yeah. I could finish the tail right now and show you how it looks finished. But I want to show you a bit of the rock. So why don't we jump into that? And then I can show you like the final result. I think the rock is not gonna be very hard. Okay, but do know that when you're drawing rocks or trees or leaves, it can be a little complicated. Because it's pretty much all about the texture. And it's a lot of the paper is our rock. Okay, maybe I'm gonna change this right now. Okay, this is what we have. But do you think when I see this, we can do like a tree rock and then it would not be so big? Okay, just want you to see this. Okay, I'm sorry. Might be touching the camera a bit and I got you all shaking. Sorry. I think sometimes when you watch videos of people drawing and they just put the video like speed up, like by 5 maybe, then you think to yourself like, well, that looks so easy, that looks so fast. And when you're looking at someone drawing like live, well, it can take forever. You're seeing my whole process literally from the beginning, from the sketch. Okay. Yeah, in the video if you speed all this up, then I have my base in like 5 seconds maybe. This is really me trying to be fast. What can I say? So I'm drawing like a tree and they're standing on this branch and they're super in love. That's an important part. No, I'm kidding, but you know that it's a mating scene, so maybe nature is not super romantic, but they are mating. So I'm using my hardest pencil, so it's the one that is gonna draw the lightest. And then in that way I can also just, if I made a mistake and draw on top of the animal, then that's alright. Yeah, so this one is kind of on the edge. I think it looks nice. Okay. In this first, because I didn't elaborate it first, then I think we might lose details when we do this. So let me just do a darker outline. The shaking is totally intended. Okay, I just didn't want that edge to be lost, and then we'll have to rediscover it later. Okay, almost. Or at least this first part. I feel so bad, or not super bad, but I do feel a little bit bad that I have focused so much on like this part of the illustration, and then we have that part that nah haven't worked on it a lot. I think it's interesting because you can see the process now. Like yeah, you start like this, but eventually you're gonna get to this. Maybe it's good to see it like that. Okay, let's work with that. From here we can do the cast shadow. We just have to understand it a bit. And what I mean is that we don't want to do it where it's not supposed to go. But you know what? It could help. Let me see. Yes. Okay, maybe this is not a super great help. But that's our light study. Sometimes you can also think about this in your light study. So you don't have to do it all from logic. I believe the head is a bit up, like we have in our reference, so then the cast shadow is not gonna be as strong there. I think this part of the body is like touching. So I think it's very, very dark here. But then maybe not all, maybe just until here, and then here starts going up. I'm sorry. Yeah, this can happen sometimes, but this is just so useful when you don't want to mess up your paper. I highly recommend it. And this is how you can start to do your cast shadow. It doesn't have to be super obvious, and you can build it up from there. Remember when we were doing the exercise of the sphere and the square? Well, in that type of exercise, then you realize that the point where the individual, the shape, the form, anything you're drawing is touching the surface, then you're gonna have the strongest shadow. It's gonna be the darkest there. So it's interesting because it could even be darker than the body itself. But it just gives such an amazing feeling when you do that already, like you see it there. Yes, of course I get excited when I draw something that's pretty. And this is just the tail, right? And when I mean just the tail, I mean that is the volume is smaller than the rest of the body, so the shadow that we're gonna have here is gonna be a bit bigger. Then again, you can start very subtle. Sometimes I go for my dark. Okay, this is not my darker pencil, but it's the darker one that I'm using in the illustration is the 2B. Sometimes I go for that one, and it's not as dark as I would like it to be. And then I'm a bit pressed, like, hey, what's happening? Is this the one I wanted to use? This difference is also what I meant at the beginning, that maybe I was gonna take the body darker, even darker, when I was gonna start doing the cast shadow. Um, but if I'm honest with you, at the moment I'm liking it. I'm liking the contrast. I'm liking how strong the cast shadow is looking in comparison to the body. So yeah, and that cast shadow is really placing the animal there. I think that's just really beautiful. For sure, this part of the like this stage of the illustration is the most rewarding. Maybe at the beginning you were thinking all the time like, what am I doing? And this makes no sense, has no shape, you know. But yeah, at this point everything just comes together, and you're like, whoa, this actually looks really good. I hope you're all at this point. You know, where you're enjoying it. I know it can be frustrating at times, but the whole idea of it is just to enjoy it. Like also not to be too hard on yourself. There's no need. And I think this is very interesting because we don't even have the details of the tail, but we can see it there, as in with the cast shadow, you place the object on the space. So because we already have the volume and we already have the cast shadow, then we already see it there. What would be the step from here? Sorry, I got into this shadow. I tell you what the next step is in a second. Yeah, and when we have when our individual is not really touching the ground, then we're gonna have a shading like this. Like it's not gonna be touching it all the time. I think we have time enough to finish the tail. Or even to finish the... So yeah, I want to keep working on the body, so that's what I'm bringing this image back. But maybe I want... Okay, so I'm gonna show you the reference that I have the tail. Okay, that is... This is just very similar to the one that I'm showing right now. But yeah, it's the same individual. The only thing that is I just took the screenshot of the closer place to the tail. And I don't know, to me it looks very similar to... I'm gonna change them. For me it looks very similar to the arms. No, here we can see the tail and we can see the leg. And I think the texture is pretty similar. So then I'm gonna do that, okay? I'm gonna try to be fast. But just look, we are almost done with this. And it's looking so good. Maybe we can go darker. Like, once we have all the texture, then we can work on the details of it. We have 30 minutes to go. Feels like a challenge. Are we gonna be able to finish? Let's find out. Oh no. I let my pencil fall. And now the point is broken. So yeah, I'm just looking for another paper to fix this. Okay, now we have 25 minutes because of pencil incidents. Okay, let's just do the maps for the guide. And we can assume this is still the body. And I already had kind of like a guides here that were indicating the body mode detail. This is gonna be faster than you think, I promise. Just wanna take a look at maybe the references to see if we have an image that shows like till the end of the tail, you know? Okay, we do. Okay, let me show you. We have at least one. Let's put this one uh, up here in the meantime, and I'm gonna show you. Mm, we have this one. This is one of them. Let me check if we have another one. Okay, yeah, maybe this one we don't need anymore because I'm just gonna keep following the pattern of the press of the extremity, so that's that. Yeah, no, I think we can use this one. Let's use this one. Yeah, that also looks cute. Like this too, like that. We can do this a bit like that. Okay, now we work on it. Okay, and I think in here, sorry, I should go for smaller and smaller circles. Okay, I think that's not even visible for your camera, is it? Okay, I think maybe a bit. And that's that. What do you all think? No. Sorry. Yes, of course we can work on this. Okay, I think that spot is too dark. This thing that I'm doing with the eraser, you can also do it with a normal eraser, with this one. If you just kinda tap it, then it's gonna have the same effect. So don't think like I know I'm using this one. This is just for practicality matter. If you don't have it, you don't really need it. So if you don't have it, just use a normal eraser and that will be alright. It is almost done. What can we work on, like details that we want to work on? Is not necessarily a lot that we need, just tiny details. Like gaining back our lights. I believe this is it. Maybe what I mean, like what I was telling you about the 80% of an illustration done would be this point where you think, yeah, maybe this is it. Can we still work on it? Yeah. Can I still work on a bunch of details? Probably. But when we look at it, we already say like, oh, it's pretty good. You know? it's a personal decision. I'm not telling you stop and leave an illustration if that's gonna make you feel not satisfied with your work. But I just think it's a good advice because sometimes we really do like to work over and over the details. So yeah, I'm gonna show you how it looks like the full thing. Go too far. This is how the whole illustration is looking. And yes, I know there are some image in the middle. Let me remove that. Yeah, we have this. And what we want is to have this same level of elaboration in the rest of the illustration. And when we're there, then we can say it's done. And when we're there, we can also say, maybe I want to work a bit more on the details. Maybe I want to push this a bit harder so I can make it more three-dimensional. Or, you know, it's up to you. It's your decision. But in our class, what we're aiming for is to have something like this. I'm not asking more of you. In the next class, meaning Saturday, I wanted to go over some of the exercises that you've done, but I know that this might take a while, and I know that probably for Saturday you're not gonna have it at this stage. So on Saturday, we're gonna do a slight change, and we're gonna keep working on this one, because I wanna show you. Like I don't wanna leave this just like this and tell you like, oh yeah, alright, then course is over. Bye. No, this was the first part of the course that was working with pencils, and I wanna show you the final illustration in pencils. So yes, um, I wanna see you. Okay, so next class we're gonna keep working on this. Sorry, on this. We're gonna keep working on it until we have everything until this level of elaboration. And then I can tell you like, okay, yeah, this is the final illustration, and that's what I want you to have, and that's what I want you to learn to achieve, because we went through all the step by step, and you saw all my creative process. You saw all the time while I was making decisions of like, where am I gonna place these two specimens, where I'm gonna make them do the position, the lighting. We even went to the sculpture stage and did the sculptures of these animals to be able to do the lighting more accurately. So yeah, that's why I want you to see the final result, and that's what I want you to take with you. All this step by step that we did during the class, and yeah, that I expect you to, yeah, just take advantage of all the things I'm teaching you in this course. Thank you again for meeting me. For me, it's a pleasure to see you every Tuesday and Thursdays and every Saturday. So I hope you have a great evening. Bye bye.